In this episode, I visit the historic Mount Mourne Plantation home in Iredell County, North Carolina, listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The owner graciously gave me a private tour and shared the home's rich and complex history, including the experiences of those who were enslaved here. Join me as we explore the legacy of this landmark and the stories it holds. So Mrs. Crooks is going to give us a tour of this beautiful home, give us some of the history and some of the preservation efforts that you have put in place for yourself while living here, if you don't mind. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us about the home within itself. If I remember correctly, there was a Latta plantation connection that was that's in Huntersville.
It was.
Okay.
And the house was built, there is no firm completion date for the house. And Rufus Reed, who was the owner of the house and who commissioned the house to be built, he bought the first piece of land, 250 acres, and he bought that. He wasn't living in Iredell County when he bought that. He was living in Rowan County.
Okay, so Salisbury.
There are a lot of stories about how he acquired the land for the house.
Okay.
One is, and it's a favorite one, is that his father gave him 1,800-acre tract for the house. That is not the case. He bought it a little piece at a time, a little bit at a time, and added to it until he finally amassed like 3,625 acres overall. And this was an 1,800-acre tract, which he kept contiguous right here. Yeah.
Wow.
And his house is Transitional Federal Greek Revival. It's attributed to Jacob Steyerwalt, who is the master Piedmont builder, although there are no papers to prove that that is the case. It was completed in time for his second wife, not the first. It appears that they moved in around 1836, 1835, somewhere around there. Although there are boards here with initials and dates carved on them, which are much older than that. Yeah.
Wow.
We've saved them, yeah, in the back. Yeah.
Okay. So clearly, obviously, you're having these dates and stuff like that. And it's funny because when you and I first met, right when I walked in, you were like, "Do I have to remember dates and dollar amounts and things like that?" And I was like, "No," but here they are coming off the top of your head, right? As it relates to just your love for history, when did that begin?
I grew up with it in a way. I had an aunt, and we did things like Indian pottery. We dug for Indian pottery, arrowheads, this kind of thing. And we would ride around and we'd look at older houses, this kind of thing. Always it was, I want an older house someday. And actually, that's how I acquired this one.
Wow. And how long have you been living here?
Because I've lived here for 50 years, almost 51. July will be 51. And my husband was showing me the sights when I first moved here, and he brought me up, pulled up in the driveway, and he wasn't my husband then, of course, and I said, oh, because I grew up near Charleston, I said, I'd really like to own a house like that someday. He said, if you marry me, I'll buy you that house someday. And he did.
Both of you kept your word, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
It took a while, but it did.
Right, but it happened.
Yeah.
So do you mind us taking a tour around the home? Let us know where.
We think this was the original dining room.
Okay.
The fireplace in here is larger than the other rooms, and when we get to this room back here at the back, I'll show you one of the reasons why we do think that.
Okay.
None of the furnishings that you see are original to the house. We know where some of the pieces, what happened to some of them. Some of them probably came to this house from Oaklawn when he married his second wife. And the dining room table that was in here with the banquet ends ended up with the Cannon family in Kannapolis.
In Kannapolis, yes.
Yeah.
A very.
They paid $1,500 for it.
Wow.
And that's one of the pieces.
Yeah.
It's just been a matter of going through it room by room, and redoing it as we went. Some rooms required more work than others.
Okay.
It just depends. And then there are little things that we added here and there.
Were people living here when you all decided to
There
purchase?
were
Or?
people here.
Okay.
The house was 3 apartments when we bought it.
Oh, okay.
This was one, these 2 rooms here. And then the rooms that we were in, we'll go through those rooms
Sure.
later. On the other side, that was one, and then upstairs was another apartment.
Okay.
So there were people here. At one time, it had been a boarding house. I don't know very much about that.
Okay.
We don't have that. So there is one thing I would like to point out.
Yeah, please
the
do.
corner cupboard. Do you want this? You can take me out or put me in. Do you
No, you're
want
fine.
this kind of thing?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The corner cupboard was made by my husband's great-great-grandfather. He was a minister in Lincoln County who supplemented his income by making furniture for himself, but other people as well.
Wow, this is nice.
What was his name?
Crooks, but that's all I know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Reverend Crooks.
Reverend
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all.
Interesting. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And he had a church in Maiden. He started a church in Maiden. And then the cornices, the wooden caps on the cornice tops up there were made by my husband to match the tops of the corner cupboard.
Where did you all source a lot of these furnishings? Was it just going around to auctions, estate sales, things like that?
Some auctions, occasionally, some of the pieces were from antique houses.
Okay.
South Carolina was a good place. Not too many pieces there. Most of the pieces actually are Habitat for Humanity and Salvation Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
They saved a little bit of money, right?
Yeah.
Never know what you'll find.
Nope.
Oh, there's also one thing. One thing you need to know, when you restore a house, you don't ever really do it all by yourself. There are always people in the background, always people who help. They sort of fade back. But in this case, I didn't want any light switches exposed that weren't already exposed.
Sure.
And of course, there was no overhead light in this room. And we added the chandelier, but I didn't want that on the wall. There's a very nice lady in Charlotte. Her name is Mary Boyer. And she visited one day, and I was talking to her about it, and she said, "Oh, I know." And she said, "There's a house in Virginia." Well, she was on a tour. She wasn't going to that house at all. She made the bus driver stop. And she went in and she asked them how they managed to hide the light switches in their house. And they told her, and she brought that information back. And the way you turn on your lights is you pull the bell pull.
Oh.
And then it
Nice.
burns your lights.
As it relates to delving into the history of the home, did that start immediately after you all purchased it, or was some of that identified prior to purchasing?
It was in the process when we purchased it. The National Register nomination was in process. Oh, wonderful.
Okay, grab your phone.
We'll just let it ring.
All right, we'll let that ring. But first, let me just say it's very refreshing to hear a phone that's connected to the wall ring again, right? Landline. It has been a long time, right? Nostalgia has definitely been activated, that's for sure.
Yeah. But we put the bookcase in, and there are also things that you don't want exposed, and such as the light switch, and you do different things such as the return air for the furnace on this side of the house is the bottom of the bookcases on that side, so that you don't see this portion of the wall taken out.
I know the phone may have thrown you off a little bit, but you were detailing the process of understanding the history of the home.
Since it was in the process of being placed on the register, the state had been here one time, and then we got a letter from them right after we purchased it, it said the nomination was in process, and it was uh, the end of the year. We purchased it in July of '74, and then the nomination came through toward the end. But it had a great deal of history in the nomination.
Now, as it relates to upfitting it to your liking over time, and obviously because it's on the historical register, there's only so much that can be done. Was this a gradual thing to where you were saying, okay, let's do this or let's do that, or was it just something off the top of your head that you knew you wanted?
Some things were, they obviously needed to be done.
Okay.
Some things, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The back porch was one. Other things, we were very fortunate. The people who lived here before us cared a lot about the house.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't lower ceilings. They didn't rip up the floors.
Yeah.
A lot of linoleum, but they didn't rip them up. Yeah, but for instance, we still use the original keys. We did not change the
Really?
locks.
So these are the original keys?
This is the original back door key.
Wow.
The locks were last made for export from England in 1835. And then this is the original key.
Wow.
Pull that one out.
Wow.
And that operates a lock that is housed in wood.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Carpeted because it's used so much up here, and I was afraid of the wooden stairs. I couldn't do that, so it's carpeted.
Yeah.
All of the rooms upstairs are what they were originally designed for. They are bedrooms.
Okay.
Does your light, do I need to raise shades? I can't raise but one. What do you need?
Okay. Now, do you know, as it relates to the rooms, whose original rooms?
No,
Okay.
I do not know who. I do know which one was supposedly the master bedroom.
When it came to the history, the Civil War history, in the house, how knowledgeable are you of that history?
The Civil War did not touch them. That's not right. It did. They lost their eldest son. He was a second lieutenant. I've seen his picture, his hat and his cocked to one side with his feather in it. He died at Manassas.
In Virginia.
The first Manassas.
Okay.
He was not 17 years old, and he died there.
Okay.
Other than that, the railroad was torn up for the cause, so that was not here. But as far as how they fared with daily life, I don't really have anything, and nor did I find any of that
Okay.
when we were going through the history to see. That did not come up.
Okay.
I do know when the railroad was first here, when he married the third wife, he rented a private railroad car to come home, and all of the slaves lined up from the railroad track to the back door to welcome her home. They got off the railroad car and stopped back here.
Okay.
Came back.
Abigail's done a great job researching with the help of descendants there at Cedar Grove. Andre Kearns is one, of course, of identifying the names of the individuals that were enslaved on the site. Do you all have that type of information? Or even surnames that may have been connected to the site?
They took the name Reed,
Okay.
many of them. And there is one lady who gave a newspaper article, and her name is Houston. Beyond that,
Houston?
I do not know.
Last name Houston?
The first names, now there is a list that gives their names and their shoe sizes, and that's in the records. and Wilson Library, Chapel Hill. It's extremely confusing where any of the names are concerned because they just kept using the same name over and over.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many Samuels I've run across, how many Rufus Reeds. I mean, everybody would name their child Rufus Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you read them, and then all of a sudden you realize you're in the, you know, you're
6
in the wrong
Rufuses
50
in, right?
years. I mean, you got to go back. And John was another one.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
But I do not know. I do not know the names of all of them offhand. They lived across the railroad track. I know that.
And the railroad track is, oh, it's back this way. Okay, so the
you
quarters would have been back there.
Yeah, on
Okay.
the opposite side. Practicality makes you think that no matter what you thought of them, they were property. All right, that's what they were. They were property. But you did not pay, and there are records in some of his paperwork. He paid $1,800 for a man, paid $900 for a woman and her child.
Yeah.
And one time he paid $39 for a 5-year-old boy. And that's all about. But if you pay almost $2,000 in 1835, you are not going to put a person down there on a damp clay floor to sit with nothing, because he's valuable to you
Right.
as somebody who can do your work. And that's what kept this place going, was forced labor.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite room in this house?
A favorite room? I like my bedroom.
Okay.
Just this room here. I like that. And then I think the kitchen is my next favorite room. We'll go in there when we go.
Yeah.
These are the cupboards. They are original to the house.
Oh,
we
wow.
have the Isabella, the third wife. There's a copy of her journal, and she lists the sheets, blankets, linens that were stored here. For every day, they were separated, what was everyday and what was company. My company used to use
Okay.
the same.
So these are original, and I'm reckon these are original keys again,
No,
right?
the keys are
No?
not.
These
We
aren't
just added
original.
The keys.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the keys are not original. No, and they are. Some woodworker came and told me they're cypress, which has the same property as
They're what?
cypress,
Uh-huh.
which has the same property as cedar.
As it relates to journals or anything like that related to the house, did it give you any type of depiction of what life was like around here on a day-to-day basis?
The thing that strikes me the most in what I read, in the letters, the sense of family was extremely strong. In fact, when the girls are at Salem at school, a boarding school, they were there, Rufus Reed writes a letter one day and tells them that the road has been improved, and if they need anything, or to let them know when they're free, because they can come see him 3 times a week. And I thought that was, those poor horses. I mean, but he said, you know, just let us know. 3 times a week we can come and see you, you know. This room was used, the fireplace was used the least.
Do you know why that may have been?
Yeah.
Do you know why that may have been?
Oh, why?
Uh-huh.
Probably because it was warmer.
Okay.
When all these shades are open, it is very warm up here in the middle of winter, and that's probably one of the reasons why. You have to remember there were, well, the girls went to boarding school, but there were a total of 17 children here in this house. The 2 boys from Oaklawn went to Philadelphia, but the younger boys probably stayed here. The older ones, a couple of them actually stayed at Oaklawn, and they sort of batched it themselves there. But there were a number of children. And then you had your personal servant to take care of you. So there was a lot of foot traffic in these houses. So,
Do we know if any of the people who were enslaved here, were they hired out at Davidson College? Do we know if there's a connection with that?
If the boys went to school at Davidson, they would have gone with them.
Sure.
But hired out for labor, I don't know. They were hired out to other plantations, and they were hired. In fact, there's one letter, and a man was sent to a plantation to work. Mississippi and Alabama were places where they sent them off.
Yeah.
And the doctor wrote a letter to Major Reed and told him that he had seen, and he gave the man's name, and he would suggest that he let him come home. Because what he had done, he was so homesick, he took off all his clothes and he rolled in poison ivy because he didn't want to be there. And the doctor said, if I were you, I'd consider letting him come home. And they did. That's another thing. They were hired out to neighboring plantations. They were hired, carried to his property in other areas of where his 3,600 acres were. And not all of that land was together.
Right, I remember you saying that earlier.
So when they go to the fields, and Miss Houston gives an account of that, and she gets extremely upset when she was giving her interview to the paper. She was married to a slave here. She was married very young. She was like 12, 13 years old, and she was married to a slave. And she says that he told her often, and I guess she remembers, they were carried to the fields to work in cages when they went to work. I can understand that.
Sure.
Because how did you carry somebody 3,000 acres away to work? Just on the back of a wagon?
I've read numerous accounts where that was the case too, because of the risk of them, jumping ship and getting out of Dodge.
That did occur.
Yeah. Now there's two buildings that are back there. It looks like one of them is a barn, and there's a building over here to the left.
This one over here, that's just a shed.
Okay, that was a shed.
And it's not. It doesn't contribute. It's new.
Okay.
It replaced two that were falling down.
Okay.
And did not contribute. The barn, our log building, I'm not sure was barn. It is original.
Okay. Now, when you all had purchased the home, were there any former slave dwelling structures back behind where the railroad was?
No, there were not.
Okay.
And, but I talked to a descendant who played in them as a child. But I was not astute enough at the time to say, how wide were they?
Right.
I know they weren't two-story. I'm sure they weren't. But could they house two families in one house?
Chimneys and all that stuff to confirm.
One house per family. You're on what is left exposed of the original back portico.
Okay.
Remember, the house was symmetrical. It's just like the one on the front, not as elaborate, but the shape was exactly the same here. And in this case, the columns have been enclosed. The columns are still here. The roof line is still here, but it has been enclosed. And this is the door that led to that room where you went to the kitchen.
Yep.
And then this area here, all of this would have been the breezeway.
Okay.
When they brought this part in and made the kitchen and then put the column, that would have been there. And then over here on this side, it's enclosed because this is our kitchen now.
Right.
And it was the bathroom that they added on to the porch. And the columns are still there on the inside. And that's the way. The stairs were wider going down and were simply built up at the back. They were open. I don't know if that means there was lattice there originally and it deteriorated, or it was just left open. When we came, there was just raw plank boards over here to protect the plumbing that was left, and that's it. And the back porch did not look quite like this when we bought it, so.
All right.
Woo, watch them. It was
It's very, very cool up here. So, you know, this is very bearable versus walking upstairs.
Yeah. I think the original kitchen was right out there, mostly where that little yellow weed is out there. There's foundation corners of the building. It was 2-story when it was built.
Okay.
I love your little kitty here.
Oh.
Peeking into the pot. That's so sweet.
All right. Yeah, a lot of ducking. Gotta watch your head around here.
This room that was down here, it's not really known what this room was for. When we came, the fireplace was simply the bricks around, and the floor was wide flooring, like it's in the attic, not this wide, and it was laid on the dirt. So it couldn't be used anymore. Yeah. So we took it up. Different theories for what it was used for. It was no higher than this. The ceiling height was no higher.
Yeah, as you see how close it is, y'all.
Slightly tilts because when they built the bathroom, they went through the floor. The walls never had anything on them. It was just studs and clapboard.
Okay.
And different theories as to what it's used for. The descendant from the family said they wash clothes down here. The state thinks it could have been either a warming kitchen or a summer dining room. I can assure you it was never a summer dining room, not the condition it was in when we came. It was not used for that. There was a window there. There was the door here across. First of all, there were too many people, for one thing. The other thing is it was simply not conducive for, sitting down and eating a meal.
Yeah.
My theory is that the cook lived here. When they brought the kitchen in, she'd been outside over the kitchen. They brought her in here. And she had here. And it went straight back that way, which I think is one reason Bill Pope says they wash clothes. But they wouldn't have washed clothes. I grew up in South Carolina. They didn't wash clothes
Don't so either. Doesn't sit quite right.
Yeah.
Now, was it identified where the overseer's quarters were?
No,
Based on what?
I do not know where the overseer lived. Okay. There have been several houses, they're gone now, that I've ridden by and looked at and thought that an overseer could have lived in those structures. But do I really know? No, I don't.
Probably nearby, probably.
Not far away.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was amazing that you have, that oral history from the descendant of the last one. You said great-granddaughter, I believe. Did you say, or great-great-granddaughter that gave you that story? Of the descendant?
Of the descendant?
Yeah. The descendant of the overseer?
Yes.
Okay.
Just granddaughter. She was just a granddaughter.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, she was quite elderly.
Okay.
When she gave us that.
Do you want to You're gonna have to duck somewhere, but
Oh
there's
yeah,
more to see.
Yeah,
there's
now
more
you
over
have
here.
to
Oh,
really
okay,
duck.
yeah, let's do it.
Just be, I wouldn't go all the way through there because it rained. But
I wanted to throw in the trough.
Oh, the trough. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
the
you can go
trough.
in there. There's not a problem in there.
Oh, you mean under here? Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
wanna just,
Yeah, just don't walk all
wanna
the way
take a
over.
peek in there,
I feel like I'm back
Don't
at my
touch the
granny's
floppy.
house with the
Yeah.
fly.
Gotta have that.
Gotta have it. Multiple. Oh wow. Wow. And this is where you were saying that people stated that there were
That's where they stated there were
chains.
chains.
Yeah. Okay.
It was logged off. That's an original log wall. And he did have barrels that went around the sides where he kept food.
Mhm.
And where I showed you that key for the wooden lock,
Yes. Yes.
there were stairs and they go down. You can step right there and step on that piece right there if you want to, and you can see a lot better. Just don't step.
Yeah. I got you. Wow. Are those bottles up there original to the home?
Yes,
They are.
they are. And those racks are. There are 3 or 4 racks down there
Uh-huh.
where they could store food. One of them turns.
Okay.
Be careful
Oh yeah.
of your stuff.
Yep.
Blah.
It's all good. I've had plenty of those a day in my day. Being
Are
a
these to the
ancestors.
They're just
just decorative?
some, yeah, they can put there. Yeah.
Alright, come on through the laundry area here. Lots of ducking.
Yeah.
And this is what they believe was like a spring house to keep the things cool
Yeah.
and not what the
I've seen this before.
myth has shared. I think.
This was, they were saying that this was a food
This is
trough?
that this is where they fed the children. No, I don't
Yeah, I
Don't
don't
think
believe
so.
this one to be true. I've seen
Doesn't make
multiple of
sense.
these and it wasn't. No.
wasn't meant for that, yeah. And that was just the mythology there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's pretty amazing
Yes, it is.
craftsmanship regardless. I mean, digging, carving
Yeah.
that out of a solid block of stone.
They have one of these down at the Museum of the Waxhaws.
Uh-huh.
A person from Charlotte had actually built it, and it's up there now. It looks very, very similar. Yeah. And it's in their spring. It's in their spring house too. So yeah, I'm bumping my head.
Turn it around.
Be careful. I don't think you can stand up down here either.
No, no, you can't. All right.
The bricks are an addition. The floor was just dirt.
And this is the original well?
The original well is right here, where that, right, yeah, be careful. Obviously a cat's been there.
Oh, yeah. Right there, is it where the straw is kind of lifted
Yes.
from?
That's the original well. This is
Okay.
the second one right here.
This is the second one. Okay.
Right, here's the second.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
And that's third.
And that's the
That's
third
the
one.
third. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to keep them all in order here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one had
First
this one had a
well,
pump.
second well, third well. Okay.
That's the fourth one over there.
And there's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. And this wall back here is one that you all put up.
Yes.
Okay. So
And
it's
the
not.
gatehouses, yes.
Okay. But this is original too.
That is an original building. There are records of the amount of meat stored. 20,000 pounds of pork and 3 steers on one report in one room. Whether or not they had it there, I don't know. That is a 2-story building, which someone lived in during the Depression.
Really?
Yes, on the second. Well, he lived on both floors.
Yeah.
Dirt floor is not uncommon
Sure.
at that time, but then upstairs. And of course, there was no light, so he took the, in the gable, he took the siding out of the gable and put windows back in the
Mhm.
back.
Any trees around here that are reported to be real old or not so
This
much?
one, over here,
Yeah. Do we have an estimated year
well,
as it relates to the age of this tree?
no, not exactly.
There's a lot of nails in it.
But they hitched their horses here.
I'll bet it's as old as the house.
Yeah.
I would say
Maybe a
that's
witness
another
tree.
reason for the visitors to the back door of the office. They came here, hitched their horse, and then went
Yeah.
back.
Wow.
When I came, that ring was loose.
Wow.
It's going.
Wow.
Hugo took a lot.
Yeah.
That holly tree's huge too, right here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All that one is.
the hollies.
The other side's got some historical plans. It's a beautiful pomegranate tree. Don't always see around here.
No.
Check it out.
We lost an oak back here between that shrub right there and the chairs.
Mhm.
There was an oak that we lost. It took a 60-foot crane, and then he still had to climb to get it out.
That much. Wow.
You can see the railroad tracks.
Yeah. So if I remember that story correctly, his second wife, when she came here, you said that when she got off the train, the enslaved were lined up waiting.
Third wife.
Third wife. Okay, third wife, and they were right along the tracks.
They came from, he had a private railroad car. It stopped to let them off, and they lined the railroad track up to the back door.
Up to the back door.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's how many people.
Golly.
The records show 88. They're over 100.
Sure.
That's because they weren't taxed
Mhm.
until they were 12 to 50. You paid tax. And I don't know if that's whether they counted them or not, because then they were full hands.
Yeah.
The others would have been quarter hands, half hands, and then some too old to work at all.
So back to the legacy question. You just said something very profound. Can you jog your memory on what it is that you just said?
It's when you're working on it, you don't always think about what you're doing. You think about it from the standpoint of you don't want to change it, but at the time, that's about as far as it goes on some of the. You don't stop to think about 50 years from now when we started working. You don't stop to think about today. But when it's time to leave, you realize what you have compared to what's lost. In many, many cases, almost everywhere, progress preceded preservation.
Yeah.
And you realize that it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And when people like you come, you want to, you can feel proud about what you did, and hope that there'll be somebody who continue it and keep it up.
And these are the designations as it relates to
Yes.
National Register of Historic Places, and then Iredell
Iredell
Historic
County.
Site, 1976. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is the front porch. Did Rufus Reed, did he pass in this home?
Pardon?
Did he pass in this home? Rufus?
Yes, he did.
He did. Where are they buried? Do you know?
Center Church,
Center Church?
not very far.
As you know about the Seven Sisters
Yes.
churches.
Yes.
And the center, there's many definitions of which were the seven. And a lot of the documents are center was one of the original seven.
Oh, it was.
Yes, but that it's shifted now, and a lot of people call the seven the ones that are in Mecklenburg
The
County,
county.
and they leave out the
This
center.
one. Yeah. Well, Mrs. Crooks, this has been absolutely amazing. I thank you for allowing me to come in and film you. Can you just provide any last words as it relates to the importance of preservation in general for viewers to understand, for someone who's done it for years?
I wish that it were, that it was taught more than it is. I wish you didn't have to depend upon your own curiosity. and your own, what you care for yourself
Sure.
to find it, because you're going to miss a lot. And you're not going to know, you're not going to know, you're not going to get to know the people just skimming the surface of what was there and what their life was like.
Yeah.
And I hope that the effort, even though it's small, continues and grows in the future.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, you've definitely lent your hand in hopefully that being the narrative in the future. So we greatly appreciate you.
And we are trying
Thank
to
you.
do a collection of the history and providing more links and putting everything in one place on the Hearts Collaborative website.
Yeah.
So on the history page, we do have a Mount Mourne
To the side.
place, and we're
Yeah.
going to keep building and adding as much archives we can find digitally as we can.
Most definitely. Now, you had mentioned something earlier about the name of
Mount
the site.
Mourne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do y'all mind
so-
if we step up on
sure.
top real quick?
Some shade.
Yeah, the
Sure.
shade is making the back of this bald head even more sweatier. Not that I don't mind it, but
So I'll let
yes, if you don't
share
mind,
this
Mrs. Crooks. This.
I'm careful.
Oh,
Careful.
you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So please share this, where the true story of where the Mount Mourne came from. Or I think I know.
I don't know.
I
if
believe
there's a
it's
true
from
story.
Ireland or Scotland.
Well,
there was a place called Mount Mourne.
William Powell in the North Carolina Gazetteer says that Mount Mourne was named for the Mourne Mountains in Ireland, that Rufus Reed named it for the Mourne Mountains because that's where his ancestors were.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Houston House, their letters to people there, there at the post office, that's 1818. And they're addressed to Mount Mourne.
Oh,
So it predates.
predates it.
Yes. But the state gives it Rufus Reed, having named it for.
And it could
mountains
have been
over there.
a settler before him. And it could still have been
Yeah.
named after the Mourne Mountains.
It could have.
Because most of the early settlers here
Exactly.
were all from
They all, that was an
Ireland
area
and
they came
Scotland.
from.
So
Yeah.
I think that's probably still a pretty good.
But the state does
Yeah.
give it that.
But you see how sometimes when things are double entendres, how they just still kind of match, right? Because whether it was the mountains or whether it was the morning, I mean, it's still,
The slaves.
you know what
will
I'm saying?
still
Like it's
tell
still
you.
there. So it can have one thing can have two meanings. And the universe caused it to happen in that way, in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that one thing that does do is give everybody agency in some way, shape, or form.
Down where the Firehouse Auto place is now, there's a large rock down there. That was the auction rock that was in the area.
Did not know
Really?
that.
It goes down to just straight down this road?
Straight down this road.
And on the right-hand side?
On the right-hand side, going out right before you get to it.
Is there
It's a large
is there a
rock.
sign or something that says it? No? Just something we just know.
That's handed down.
Okay. Well, this was great. So listen, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of History Before Us. Learned a lot here in Mooresville. Charlotte usually gets all the shine. Davidson does as it relates to history, Huntersville, but Mooresville has some rich history here as well. And I just want to extremely show my gratitude to you for allowing us to come into your home. And so listen, if you like this type of content, please make sure to subscribe and share. Thank you.